Good morning, world historians. And if you've made it this far, congratulations on reaching our sixth and final week of History 198, History of the World from 1500 to the present. And this is our final week, so I'm going to keep things short. But our topic this week is the end of history. The end of history. Now, you may remember last week I referenced an article by the scholar Francis Fukuyama, who in 1989 wrote a very influential article entitled The End of History. Now, if you like puns, if you like wordplay like I do, you'll be glad to hear that the end of history has three possible interpretations. So, number one, we're at the end of history. This is week 6 of History 198. So, again, congratulations for making it this far. Secondly, the word end can have two meanings, at least two meanings in English. One of which, of course, is the end point in the sense of the linear flow of time. So I don't think what Fukuyama meant exactly was that we are at the end of history. This was back in 1989 when the Cold War appeared to be at an end. But the end can also mean the end point. In other words, what end do you have in mind? What is the purpose, in other words, of history? So we might ask, when is the end of history, or what is the end of history, and not ask when, but why study history? So this is something that we can reflect on this week. We have our final exam coming up, and of course the discussion forum is themed on the topic of the end of history. Now, one more quick quotation here from George H.W. Bush. That is George, not W. Bush, but his father, George Bush Sr., giving a speech to the American public on December 25th, Christmas Day, 1991. Mikhail Gorbachev, the last final president of the Soviet Union, had just stepped down. The Soviet Union itself had dissolved. And what Bush had to say was, "We stand tonight before a new world of hope and possibilities for our children, a world we could not have contemplated a few years ago." Now remember, just 2 years ago, Fukuyama, writing about the fall of the Berlin Wall, which had taken place just shortly before those events, had written, what we may be witnessing is not just the end of the Cold War or the passing of a particular period of post-war history, but the end of history as such. The end, remember, can be the meaning, the purpose. That is the end point of mankind's ideological evolution and the universalization of Western liberal democracy as the final form of human government. Wow, that's quite a statement. So if you look up, you can Google The End of History by Francis Fukuyama, 1989. It actually appeared in its original form in a magazine called The National Interest, a scholarly journal called The National Interest. But the point being here is that when we look back, what is now 33 years and counting at the time I'm speaking, this end of history seems a little premature, to put it mildly. Certainly the idea that we were living at a time of, if you like, the triumph of not just the United States in a geopolitical sense, but of Western liberal democracy at the end of the Cold War, seems to have been challenged from multiple directions, one of which, of course, would be the continuing or the ongoing rise of Chinese communism, which is communism which incorporates aspects of free market economics, but which is still a centralized and rather different economic model than the United States, but which has become, in recent years, certainly since 1989, a kind of strategic rival of the United States. But we can look at other things as well that complicate the world we live in. In 1989, what we know today as social media really didn't exist. Even as late as the events of September the 11th, 2001, I can remember, the first images I saw of the planes flying into the Trade Center in New York City were actually on the newspaper, print newspaper. It wasn't online. At that time, the internet was in its infancy, believe it or not, and social media, even things like Facebook, were still down the road. So the way our world has been turned on its head politically since those events, and also technologically by things such as social media, and obviously more recently the rise of artificial intelligence, are things that we can consider in our final discussion forum for this week's week 6 discussion forum. So please again note the deadlines on the module for this week are a little bit shorter than previous weeks. We don't have all week, but we have until Thursday, April 8th, end of Thursday, for submission of your final exam. And then you have until this Friday to post your final reflections on the end of history. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you've enjoyed this class. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to follow up with me, SmithMD6 at miamioh.edu. But we are at the end of history, at least for History 198. And so with that, I will wish you good luck. And if you have any questions, please reach out with any queries that you might have. Good luck, everyone.